We're out pre-running right now, getting ready. The course is, what I hear is a little nasty.
Yeah, it's like a four-leaf clover shape.
Four-leaf clover, a lot of rocks. A lot of rocks.
Well, we'll be there filming it, and we'll get you good. I'm gonna dance it off under this Reno arch. Thank you, Steve. Woo! Come play with us. Come on. Brandy here with Darlene, Mike, and Bo. Which one's Mike and which one's Bo? This is Bo. Hi, Bo. How are you?
They're both my bows.
Oh, so cute. How are you guys enjoying the event?
It's wonderful. It's always fun on Virginia Avenue.
Isn't it? Are you guys from here?
Yeah, we live about a block away.
That's so perfect for you guys. So convenient. I love the hat on your dog.
This is tough guy.
Oh, so cute. So you guys enjoying all the really cool cars and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Big monsters, huh?
Mike's a racer, so he likes seeing these cars.
You're a racer.
Yeah, I'm racing go-karts right now.
Super cool. So are you guys going to the races? We're having the races out at Exit 32 tomorrow. You guys going out there?
We may.
All right.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, right? And then at 4 we're having the jumps over the Reno Arch, the motocross jumps.
We want to see that.
And me and Bo are having a chat. Bo really wants to see it too, huh, Bo? He says yes. He says yes.
Check 1, 2. Can you hear me, Ivan?
At 4 o'clock.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to stand up so people can see us on cam. Let's go ahead.
All right. Stay tuned. Much more dog interviews and everybody else interviews.
Reno, Nevada for the HDRA first annual desert race in Reno, man. You can't beat it.
Well, you know, there's so much potential in what Roger's doing at HDRA. You know, I sincerely think that probably the most potential I've seen since Mickey Thompson brought the Stadium Series to the United States. So, yeah, I think there's a ton of things that could be done right here in Reno.
Yeah, what do you think about the course? I know you had a chance to check it out. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I rode around yesterday a little bit with Roger, but, you know, the course, you know, it'll always change. And to me, it really doesn't matter as long as you've got some variety. You know, you've got some rocks, you need some sand, you need some hills. You get some uphills, downhills. You need, you know, I'd like, for me personally, the perfect off-road course would have some sand in it. Yep. You'd have rocks, obviously. You'd have a rock area. Right. And it'd have a piece of asphalt. Right? Because if you're a road racer, you're not really expected to drive off-road. Right. Right? Yeah. But if you're an off-road racer, you should know how to drive on-road. You drive on-road every day, right? So exactly. Some big sweeping corners maybe on asphalt would be fun. Something that, you know, there's dust, and then there's some areas where there isn't dust for the fans and for the, you know, for television and all. So I see it nothing but a ton of potential. And the course itself, it doesn't really matter, because next year it's going to change and it's only going to get better. Right. Because you'll learn from the first ones. You like everything.
Just like the Baja races.
Yeah, I mean, when you race in Baja, you've got to contend with everything. You got rain, snow, sleet, sand, dust, silt. You know, you name it, the only thing you're not going to do out here is probably get lost, you know.
And then Baja, you can get lost pretty easy.
Well, it used to be, not so much with GPS now. Right, I mean, the GPS has taken all those, you know, those stories away, because there was a time when, you know, getting lost, getting from Ensenada to La Paz was just part of the deal. I mean, I knew guys that were lost 3 and 4 days trying to find their way out of there. I got to turn around one night. The next morning the sun was coming up and it was rising on my right-hand side. So I realized that, you know, hey, I must be going north. I turned around, actually got completely turned around and was racing going to the north instead of going south like I was supposed to be to La Paz. So, I mean, those stories are not gone now with the GPS.
Well, back in the day, let's go back to the 70s. When was your first off-road race, Ivan?
1973 was the first real race that I did. It was a 300-mile race down in below Ensenada, Santa Tomas. And back then,
of course, we didn't have GPS, but you guys did have a compass. Did you guys carry a compass?
I don't know. You know, we didn't. You know, people ask about that. That's a great. You'd think people you'd use a compass, but you really can't. Right. Because in the United States, you're going typically north to south, east to west, or going down 33rd Street, whatever it is. Yeah. In Baja, you're going sometimes to the north, sometimes to the south, and sometimes you're going to the east, and you're going west. Right. And you're circling around the trees and around Pancho's ranch. So a compass is really hard to use.
Right, plus you're bumping around, and you don't have time to really look at it.
Exactly.
You have to stop.
You have to stop. Yeah. But even when you stop, maybe you stop going southwest. So then you look at your map and say, we should be going southeast. So maybe we're going wrong. So then you go another mile and you stop and you look at it. Now you're actually going a little bit north.
Unbelievable.
Because the road goes a little north. So I mean, you know, that's why the experience of racing in Baja was so important. The more experience a guy had, I mean, he was on top because he'd had 5 or 6 races in his belt.
Right.
Because you knew about the booby traps, and you knew about the fog, and you knew about all the things that any other form of racing you never even heard of.
Right. What do you? How does it feel for somebody that comes out of the '70s that had to navigate off-road racing basically by keeping it in your head of where to go, to what it is today with navigation and a machine basically telling you what to do?
Well, not only that, I raced solo, so I couldn't use a GPS. And if I got hurt or I got lost or had to change a tire or work on the race car, I had to do it by myself. But now the guys have got 2 people in the GPS to help them. So
sat phones.
Oh, sat phones, all these things that we didn't have. When I first started, we had 2 tin cans with a long string stretched between it. Not really.
Not really, but really.
but well, we had CBs, and you could almost holler better than a CB would work.
Right,
You get a little tree in front of you, you couldn't talk. But yeah, with the advent of especially the GPS, I mean, is taking a lot of the reading, the ability to read the terrain at speed was always one of the things I prided myself on.
Yeah.
I could read terrain at a high rate of speed and recall, where now guys don't have to recall as much. They just have to drive the car and listen to the navigator and say, hey, there's sharp corner coming up.
Right.
The only thing you don't tell them is where the cattle and the booby traps are.
And that still happens today, the booby traps. I mean, we got to get a little more volume. The band started up, so we're going to up our volume a little bit so you guys can hear us.
We'll just talk louder.
Yeah. But, no, if you guys don't know who this is, you obviously haven't been up on off-road racing. Ivan the Ironman Stewart has been a legend in off-road racing since the 70s. And I don't know, do you still want to get in a race car and actually get out there and race? Or do you feel that you've already proven what you've had to prove and it's over now and you just want to do what you're doing now? Or do you ever get the urge you want to get back?
You'll understand this. I do. But the problem being, when I was driving, my last big race that I did was the Baja 2000 in the year 2000. So I was driving the very best of the very best of the very best equipment there was.
Toyota, right?
Toyota,
yeah.
Absolutely. And everything that Toyota Racing Development, all they had to offer. So I had the best of the best. Now if I went back into it, I wouldn't have the best of the best.
Right.
Unless
You have
Toyota
to
came
start
back
over.
into it. I'd have to start back over again or drive something that was less than what I... And besides that, really what do I have to prove? If I do win, if I win, everybody's going to say, well, no wonder he won. He's Ivan Stewart. He's got all that experience behind it. And if I lost, they're gonna say, "Oh, the old man used to be good, right?" So I have nothing to do but lose. Why should I even do it?
Yeah, right. You don't want that reputation, right? You don't want to go out like that.
I'll go out a winner. I won a bunch of races. Go beat my record.
Right. and as far as short course compared to the off-road racing scene, I know you did a lot of stuff with the Mickey Thompson series back in the day, and you were the best at that too. What do you feel the differences are in short course racing and off-road racing? I know today there's a lot of publicity involved with it and sponsorship more towards the short course rather than the desert racing. How do you feel about that? Do you think that it's because the fan base can't watch the races as much in a desert race that they could in a short race?
Yeah, all the above. All great questions, and I'll try and answer those in a nutshell. I think that desert racing is the most fantastic form of racing there is because there's so many different elements that you have to overcome. If you took the GPS away from these guys, it gets back the way it used to be.
Yeah.
But it's hard to keep that from them, and that's okay. That's just called progress,
That's not
and that's the way it is. That ain't going to happen. But the best thing about stadium racing, it brought racing to the people. Mickey Thompson understood that.
Yeah.
And he was able to take it to Milwaukee and to Seattle and to LA Coliseum, and all over the United States we went. And I've gone even over to Guam and China doing off-road racing too, as long as it's on a short course. And that's great because fans can watch it. But what Roger Norman is doing is he's bringing the desert racing to a place like Reno where you can come in and have all the activities that we have here, bring your sponsors, create sponsor activity, and then they can go out to the race. And now if a sponsor doesn't want to go to the race, that's okay too. At least they're here. They see the benefit of being involved in off-road racing. So I see actually what Roger's doing is even a little bit better than even stadium racing. Because you've got this big family atmosphere too. That's all part of desert racing. This is such a super family atmosphere and orientated type of racing. There's nothing like it. So you got the best of both worlds.
I'm watching chat. We're live on the internet. I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
we're worldwide.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, great.
Yeah, we're worldwide.
Now you scared me. I can't talk.
We have chatters in here are telling you your record here. If you look, they say that in. You joined Toyota factory team in 1983 for Cal Wells.
That's right.
And these are people that are watching us right now.
Really? Wow.
And they're
amazing.
calling it out.
That's crazy.
That's what do you think about today's technology with live streaming and what we have to offer for desert racing? Like tomorrow, we're going to be live from the start finish. Fidel here, myself, Surfrat, and Live on Dirt crew are going to be live for the event. And the technology that we have, rather than bringing out a full multi-million-dollar TV package, we're doing it with the internet today. What do you think about that?
You know, I'm not as up on the internet as you are, but I do understand it enough to understand what you guys are doing. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, for me to watch this thing change from, like I was saying, from two cans of string tight between, pulling them tight before you could talk. You know, it's come a long way, and just to be a part of it and to watch it grow, and the technology, and especially the technology, you know, with the internet. I mean, you can reach so many people. You know, if you think about it, 15, 20 years ago, if I wanted to badmouth you or a promoter or something, I had to call somebody on the telephone and rely on them to call somebody else and tell somebody else. So now it'd take me 20 minutes to reach 4 people. Now with the push of a button, you can reach millions of people.
Yeah,
so I think it's fantastic.
And the interaction with the people that are watching is awesome too. The chat, as you can see, someone said, "What happened here?" In 1973, Ivan was scheduled to co-drive in the Ensenada 300 in a Class 1-2 buggy. His co-driver broke his leg, so Stewart drove the car and won the race.
Well, that's a true story. Somebody is really a fan there. But I'll tell you a little more of the story. Is that was the first race that I drove and the first one I won. And the only, as the internet said, whoever this person is really knowledgeable. Bill Rinko fell off of a ladder, broke his leg, and I had to drive. So he fell off a ladder. That's how he broke his leg. They wanted to know that too. But that's only part of the story, because 50 miles into this 300-mile race, I rolled the car, and I had to get some people to get it back on the road. Was the first problem I had. But the biggest problem is I broke the throttle cable, so I had to use a wrench. You had to use the string off the tin can? Yeah, off the tin can. Back to the throttle, and I could use the throttle and drive with one hand. And the guy by the name of Earl Stahl was riding with me, and he'd have to shift it. And we won that race. And so that was the first one I won, and then Bill Rinko had me drive another one. Then I started driving for Modern Motors, and then for some other domestic manufacturers. Then in 1983 I got a chance to drive for Toyota, and my timing happened to be just perfect, because at the time Toyota was looking for somebody to build recognition and the durability of their trucks, and I had the Ironman name, and it was a perfect relationship, and that was 27 years ago, and I've still got a contract with Toyota today and still do a lot with them. That's awesome, and I see why. I mean, the legend in off-road racing, Ivan Stewart, there's only one name that also rings a bell, would have been Mickey Thompson. If he was still around today, unfortunately his life was taken by let's just call him an idiot. We'll keep it at that. But man, you guys did something for the sport that kept it alive and bring it to, I think, what it is today. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I still stay in touch with Danny Thompson, his son, obviously, and his sister Colleen. I talk to her probably once every couple of weeks or so. But yeah, just to be a part of it and watch it grow. And the reason I'm here, I don't go to a lot of off-road races, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 a year. Yeah. And I'm here because I can sincerely say I don't think there's more opportunity in off-road desert racing than there is in what Roger Norman's doing in HDRA and their vision, or his vision, to take this thing to the next level. There's a lot of things that are going to be done that he'll be talking about later. But he's got a great vision. I'm just glad to be a part of it and watch it grow. And keeping it in the United States, I think, is also important because of the fact that, the only thing left in Baja is basically Score, that does the 500, the 1,000, the 200, and other races that they do. And next year, from what I hear, a lot of the state races may not happen. Well, and that's why I've said for years that you've got to have a piece of private property, because can you imagine? I can't imagine myself going to go down and get a permit with the Bureau of Land Management. Yeah, I wouldn't even think about doing it. Way too much work, way too much risk. But what he's done, he's got control over now. You've got control over the gate. You've got control of the, everything but the wind. People are also talking about your video game that you are in, the Ivan Stewart off-road video game, and a lot of people that didn't know who you were or what you did, the kids that were playing video games, all of a sudden they know who you are because of video games. Well, that was one of the biggest things that I did, and that was amazing with the way that, I won't tell you the whole story right now, but in a nutshell, doing that arcade game really brought a lot of notoriety, not only to myself, but to Toyota and off-road racing. Oh, yeah. It was the #1 arcade game in 1989. Oh, I played it. I remember it. Well, yes, tons of people. If you can find one right now, you should invest in it because they're a real collector's item. You hear that? Get on eBay and buy that game because it is a legend game, and it just like
the legend himself, Ivan Ironman Stewart.
But it was so good that it went to Super Nintendo, then it
Oh,
went
yeah.
to some handheld games and, I don't know, Super, and it just kept expanding. It really brought, like I say, a lot of notoriety to our sport. And then a lot of other games have come out since then. But you had to be a part of that, too. I mean, I've been so fortunate over the years. You know, who can say they made their living in off-road racing, or I got a chance to fly with the Blue Angels one time. And what
Oh, man.
a thrill that was. I mean, I feel guilty because I've heard guys say, gosh, I'd have cut my arm off the ride of the Blue Angels.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I did get a chance to ride. And I mean, I'm so fortunate to be a part of the sport, you know. I still love it.
Well, you've done so much for the sport, you deserve it. And you can see what it's grown into be today. I mean, we may not have hundreds and hundreds of entries in this race, but this is the first annual. People are going to find out that this is the way to go now. And Roger's doing a great job at it.
Well, mark my word that this will grow, and it'll grow like you can't believe in the next 5 years. I'm not going to let the cat out of the box and all the things I think that
There's some
in his
secrets.
mind.
There's some secrets this man holds, and he's not letting you all know about it. All right.
But if you really give it some thought, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in what he's doing, not regionally or not nationally, but even internationally. So, I mean, just look for some huge things I think that could be on the horizon for this event in particular, and for this area.
Yeah.
It may be 1 or 2 events or 5 or whatever he wants to do, but there's a tremendous amount of potential.
Well, I'm from Laughlin, and I know Roger's bringing a race down to Laughlin too, and I can't wait because that's my hometown. So hopefully you'll come out to Laughlin and come check that out, because that's going to be a nice setup course too out there in Laughlin.
Yeah, that's all those places are fantastic. I mean, with the television and what you guys are doing, I mean, it's what it's going to take for the sport to grow.
Yeah.
You've got to create opportunities for sponsors to come in.
Right.
Because the sponsors will come in and get involved with the guys that are putting on the show.
Right, and
The
now
drivers.
now they can watch it live online. It's a lot different. And everybody says, well, is it televised? Most things are televised, but weeks and weeks later, whereas everyone already knows the results, they know all the drama that went on, they know who broke, why, how.
That's right.
And what we do with the live stream is we let them know immediately as they watch it what's going on, and that's what's so big about live streaming. And I know it's probably new to you, but it's the future.
It's fantastic. No, and I agree. How could you argue that? No, I agree with it 100%. I mean, it shows right here by the people that are watching. It just they're already interacting.
Yeah,
they're already feeling it. They don't feel the vibe from the band.
Right.
But I mean, they know.
They're
some
listening to
excitement.
us. Trust me.
Yeah, they'll be here next year because I know they're thinking, I'm missing out on something.
Well, I'm trying to pay attention. I know you're probably busy, but people are asking so many questions. I'm trying to keep up with them. Somebody said, what is your most memorable off-road race moment? What is that?
Well,
there's got to be one that stands out.
Well, I think if anybody's raced, there's three of them. But one of them, I think, probably is if you ever done the race from Ensenada to La Paz, the Baja 1000.
I've never raced it, but I've drove that drive before.
Well, if you race it, and just the reward of getting to the mountain range before you go into La Paz,
right.
You can see the lights of La Paz, and you can almost coast. Not
Yeah.
quite, it's all downhill from that high mountain range. And there's nothing like that feeling. And all the campfires and all the people that are there to cheer you on.
You made it when you got there.
You're not guaranteed,
Well,
but you're within 5 miles.
You feel like you made it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you can smell the smoke and you can see the city, and you can, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of spectators. That's a real high to win the 1,000, knowing you're going to win the 1,000. The other was to be on the podium from the Mint 400 in Las Vegas with my son, Brian. So that was a real thrill too. I think I was first overall, and he was like second or third, I think, and won a Walker Evans truck back in the 90s.
Another thing that you did that's big time that people are talking about is the Hall of Fame.
I'll be inducted in the San Diego Hall of Fame. That's
San Diego Hall of Fame. That's huge.
Huge, yeah. That was, there's only 2 people been. It's kind of a funny story because there's only 2 people in the San Diego Hall of Fame. I was inducted into the Off-Road Hall of Fame here in Reno a few years back, but the only other person in motorsports in San Diego is Roger Norman's ex-father-in-law.
Was
Bill Munsey.
Yeah,
Bill Munsey. Right. Now, Roger Norman's mother was married to Bill Munsey, right? So
right.
Bill Munsey and myself are the only ones in San Diego Hall of Fame.
Crazy.
Which is, it was fantastic. That's
another man who lost his life tragically I was a boat accident, I believe, was
in Mexico. I believe in Mexico City.
And he, if you guys don't know who he is, Google his name because he drove the Miss Budweiser boat, and he was one of the best boat drivers ever, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. He had a real passion for the sport, and so anyway, it's kind of a small world. Roger's involved, and I see Roger's mother all the time, Fran, and it's a real family-orientated type of sport. I mean, and that's what I love about off-road racing, is it is so tied to the family. Because you need your cousin and your brother-in-law and your neighbor that wants to pit for you, and your son.
Yeah.
And, you've got to be, you need somebody to change tires for me. Go down to pit for me, And so that's what's fantastic. You can't do that. If you think about it, you can't do that in IndyCar race. You can't do it in Formula One. You can't do it in NASCAR. But here in this form of racing, you can bring in the whole family. And that's why it's so spectacular.
What maybe some of the most strangest things that have happened maybe in Baja?
One just comes to mind, just as, not because you reminded me of it, but I ran into 3 or 4 guys one time. I was pre-running down there with Johnny Johnson and Frank Arciero Jr. in the middle of the week, and we're down above, just above San Felipe. That's really a desolate place, right? And there's 3 or 4 guys running around naked.
Hold on, Ivan. We're froze here.
We got a glitch?
I want them to hear this.
No, we've got it recorded.
Okay.
At any rate, these guys are running around naked, right? And we're pre-running, and we've come up to them, and I'm thinking the first thing we got to do is we get a wide berth around these guys because there's probably there's some big major problems. Why would you be naked in the middle of the desert in the middle of the week? Johnny Johnson thought, well, gosh, there's probably some girls out here. Maybe they're skinny dipping or something. Typical Johnny Johnson. But what happened? They had been out there, been riding motorcycles, and they ran out of gas, and had been there for like 3 days. And they thought they were going to die. They were attacking cactus and everything else to get some nourishment and stuff. So we ended up making them put their clothes on first, and then I gave them a ride out of there. But that's one of them. But booby trap stories are always interesting and fun. A ton of those.
What's
catheter stories? I mean.
Oh, I remember a good catheter story. Either it was you or Rod Hall or something. But what was the craziest looking booby trap that you seen?
Well, I remember racing out of San Felipe one time in a San Felipe 250, and right off the start there was a rise, and we're probably up to we're 3 or 4 miles in, and you're up to 100 over 100 miles an hour down some of those long straightaways, coming over a rise, and the Mexican spectators had built this booby trap, and I mean it was the biggest thing. It looked like a like a Class 2 car lane there that had dirt over it. And they had divan in there, an old divan and a couch and springs and stuff. And I remember hitting that thing and thinking this is all over, because I could see 3 or 4 cars that rolled over hitting this big booby trap, right? And luckily the Toyota truck just flew high and came back down on his wheels. But that was kind of a scary one. But there's lots and lots of those type of.
Yeah, well, we could sit here for hours, I'm sure, with you and hear all the stories of your racing experience. But we're going to go ahead and let you get rolling and get your game on out here. I know there's a lot of people want your autograph. They want to talk to you. It's probably hard for you to walk down the street here.
It's, at a race like this, a lot of people know who I am, and I enjoy it. I mean, I like doing the autographs, but yet there's a lot of new people that come in that don't, and then somebody will say, "Hey, you know who that guy?" I can hear him.
Yeah,
you know who that guy is. I never heard of him.
You just walked by,
and they gotta hear him explaining. Yeah, that guy's Walker Evans. That happened before too. No, I tell him no, he's the one with no hair.
You get to Parnelli Jones ever?
Not Parnelli. I got another one. Oh, I know. There's a funny story too. I was going into Toyota one time, and they have the guard standing there, right?
Right.
And the guard waves me through, right? And there's another guy standing there with him, another guard, kind of in training.
Yeah.
And I heard him say as I drove through, he says, "Hey, did you know who that guy was?" And the other guy says, "No, who was it?" He says, "That's Dan Gurney."
Wow.
Are you going to be around at the race tomorrow? Maybe
stop
in?
Oh, yeah, I'll be. You going to be up there on the hill?
Stop by with us.
Yeah, come by if you got.
Come by and commentate with me for a little bit.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm here to please and have
I
fun.
think that would be cool if you come out and call out some people going by and have some fun with us.
Yeah, we'll have fun. Whatever I can do. I'm here to have fun. If it's not my motto, if it's not fun, I don't go.
There you